This video was made by the student of the Eurasian National University, Faculty of International Relations, Stройло Danila. Hello, I am sure that you have heard of the so-called carbon footprint. Maybe you have taken one of the many tests to calculate what your carbon footprint is. Anyway, I think we all have a general idea on what it is. Carbon footprint is a measure of the total amount of greenhouse gases, including carbon dioxide and methane emissions of a defined population, system, or activity, considering all relevant sources, sinks, and storage within the spatial and temporal boundary of the population. That is, every time we surf the internet, drive cars, take a shower, or turn the lights on, our footprint gets bigger and bigger. Everything we consume produces carbon emissions, harming the environment. It is the basic idea behind the carbon footprint. However, a very good and helpful concept at the first glance is actually not so good if you start to figure out what intentions were behind it, by whom and in whose interests it was made. On the contrary, it can even aggravate the ecological situation. But first, let's find out where the carbon footprint originated from. The concept and name of the carbon footprint was derived from the ecological footprint concept. The first academic publication about ecological footprints was written by William Rees in 1992. Its concept and calculation method was developed by Mathis Wackernagel in his PhD dissertation. Further research resulted in publishing the book Our Ecological Footprint, Reducing Human Impact on the Earth in 1996 by both Rees and Wackernagel. Using the idea of ecological footprint, they talk about dependence of consumption and production on resources, particularly fossil fuels. Generally, it is a very good research on the nature conservation important. We cannot just carry on extracting resources, polluting nature, and expect that it will not be a problem. So, let's get back to our topic. Let me introduce you to the company called British Petroleum, a multinational oil and gas company headquartered in London, England. It is one of the oil and gas supermajors and one of the world's largest companies measured by revenues and profits. It operates in all areas of the oil and gas industry, including exploration and extraction, refining, distribution and marketing, power generation, and trading. You might think, what does an oil and gas company have to do with improving the environment? In fact, absolutely nothing. That is the point. Basically, British Petroleum popularized the concept of the carbon footprint. Here is a quote by Mark Kaufman from the article The Carbon Footprint Sham. British Petroleum, the second largest non-state-owned oil company in the world, hired the public relations professionals, Ogilvy Mather, to promote the slant that climate change is not the fault of an oil giant, but that of individuals. The company unveiled its carbon footprint calculator in 2004, so one could assess how their normal daily life going to work. Buying food and traveling is largely responsible for heating the globe. A decade and a half later, carbon footprints is everywhere. This company is also known for this video.
What size is your carbon footprint?
The carbon footprint, that I don't know.
Whatever it is, the whole population of the world, make that a very, very big number.
How much carbon I produce? Is that it?
You mean the effect that my living has on the earth in terms of the products I consume?
This was a revolutionary and shocking marketing campaign. You have to understand that this is not how the oil business was done. You could not expect a company that is directly related to fossil fuels to explicitly talk about the climate change. But you already know why they did it, don't you? There was no concern about environment. A company like British Petroleum would not bother about it. This brilliant campaign was not supposed to draw people's attention to the climate change. First of all, it was supposed to make you put a responsibility and blame from them to yourself. You can't blame only a consumer because this is a consumer. He buys what companies offer. Thus, his impact on the world is very limited. He might want to drive an eco-friendly car, but there are no available options. However, a car is necessary, so he buys what he can. And even if he was able to buy an eco-friendly car, could you guarantee that it was produced in an environmentally friendly way? Could you guarantee that everyone has this kind of car? Same with other commodities. Carbon footprint is not a primary reason of a climate change, but rather a consequence of companies' greediness. That doesn't mean we should consume too much. Our actions, though limited, have an impact on the world. But we can't do much as individuals. Environment conservation requires a collective effort of humanity, which is impossible if people have objectively different interests.